Yeah.
Hogan, just to pick up on what John seems to be suggesting, in what ways, just give us the litany, in what ways is Donald Trump more powerful vis-a-vis the media than he was 8 years ago?
I was looking at the press conference, and in my head, I was thinking to myself, it's like no time has passed in the last 4 years. Like it's almost like we picked up exactly where he left off. The difference, though, John talked about it. Yeah, he won in a landslide. He won all the swing states. He won the popular vote. Um, but the media is, I mean, their popularities between Congress and COVID, it's really low, and it's by their own design. It's their own fault. They lied to us about everything under the Trump administration. Their credibility is shot. And now that Trump has won, there's no Russia collusion, hoax now to start the thing off with. There's no Russian P tape. There's none of this. So they've been neutered largely. Trump used Twitter in the first administration to go right to the American people, and love it or hate it, you got to know what a sitting president was thinking whenever he thought it. And so the media was, angry that they didn't have to go. He didn't need the filter of Don Lemon or, Martha McCallum or whomever to put something out. He just put it out, and that was him.
Yep.
Now he's coming to this with not just the experience from the first 4 years, the wisdom of the first 4 years, but an understanding of the mechanisms that really have governed DC for a long time. And now he has this attitude where he still is kind of on this honeymoon. He's ready to get to work. He wants to do the things he got done. And now it's like he's surrounded himself with people who the first administration, told him why he could not do something. Now he has people around him who are telling him how he can do it, which is completely different too.
Yep.
And the media, I think, they're not even a stumbling block. They're not even a bump in the road. He just talks, and whatever they say they're going to say, and to hell with them. And it's fascinating to watch because they really don't have much teeth right now. Now, will they get it back? Maybe, but they don't have it now.
You both brilliant. Like what you just said about where we are is so smart. And I'm gonna see if I can remember the four things I wanted to add, which echo some of what you said, but I couldn't agree with you more. Number one, the resistance is dead. There's embers of it, and there's impulses in that room of we got to stop Trump. But the organized resistance of we are Hollywood and the universities and the major news organizations and the donors, that is dead, right? So that's a big advantage. Number two, I'm analyzing a man I've known a little bit for 12 years or so. He doesn't care as much about what the New York Times thinks as he did 8 years ago. He doesn't care zero, but the New York Times tried to destroy him. The New York Times tried to send him to prison. So he's not like all dewy-eyed about, well, I really need Maggie to like me. That's a big difference, right? Because that was leverage for the press. Three, their business models are nothing like they were 8 years ago, and they were shit 8 years ago. But they're not standing in that room like we are the dominant media and you need to go through us, right? They're on their back foot. And lastly, and this is not an original point, but it was talked about in the context of the campaign. If he doesn't like what the New York Times is saying, he'll go back on Rogan, right?
Sure.
It's not just Twitter. He's got a million places to go with bigger audiences, by the way,
Way
than the
bigger.
New York Times and NBC News and everybody else. So, and as you said, Hogan, he's 8 years more experienced. He 8 years ago, he was like, well, Hope, what do I do about the fact that the Journal might be writing a negative piece? How are we gonna, whatever? Now it's just like, whatever. Journal can write what they want. I'm not going to prison because of what the Journal writes.